Alright, in this video I'm going to talk about toxic families. And when you tell somebody that you have a toxic, dysfunctional family, some these days call them narcissistic families, abusive families. And it could be the family that you grew up with, it could be the family that maybe a step family or, something along this line. Okay, now I remember when there was a time that people were basically minimizing that some people were from really, truly dysfunctional, abusive families. Such as if somebody told somebody, or they even made, like, comedians made jokes about saying, well, all families are dysfunctional, all families are bad. That's like, it's totally, like I said, marginalizing it or dismissing it. As though, well, that's just how it is. And no, it's not. Not all families are dysfunctional. People actually do have good families and functional families, and they care for one another. Not everybody has that, has had that kind of a family, but they do exist. At least that's so I've been told. Now, we all know that when people do that, some of them, it's just because that's what they've heard. During that time, people had just heard that, so they thought it was some kind of thing that, oh, if I say that, I'm cool. Really, like it's a mantra mentality. So like a slogan to some people, and they don't realize how that does harm the person who say somebody just finally opened up to somebody about their family. They don't realize that by saying, oh, all families are dysfunctional, it's dismissive. And now, the person who says it could have come from a dysfunctional family, and they're not at the point where they want to talk about it. They're not there yet. So that's why they're just trying not to even let the subject be brought up. So, so they don't have to face what they went through either, or they went through, period. But as we all know, you also can have the people who, what you find out is they were the ones who were the abusive ones in the family. So they don't want too much awareness out there of what an abusive, dysfunctional, narcissistic, toxic family, whatever you call it yourself, they don't want that awareness. Say you're in a group and you're talking about it, and they don't want people to know, because people might start saying, oh, wait a minute, this person does stuff like that too. And, to some that would be a red flag. If somebody's not, for whatever reason, they're not willing to talk about it. But what is a red flag for? Are they the abusive ones in their own family? Or are they ones that just aren't willing to talk about it? Or are they just ones that are idiots? No, seriously, the ones that just repeat whatever they've heard, like as if that makes them smarter, makes them cool, makes them whatever. There, of course, are other kinds but yeah. Okay, on a serious note, I think that was kind of a definition of an idiot many years ago, is that somebody who just repeats or does what they've heard or they're told or whatever without thinking about it. Seriously, think about that. Okay, maybe that'll segue me into this one. But another one about toxic families. Now, say you are in a toxic family and you have somebody like that in your family, at least say one or more, and they do that. They just repeat what other people say, like that. They think they know it all because they do, and they don't. They really don't know it all, and what they do say can be very offensive, very abusive, and they don't care because they've heard people say it. And so they think that just because they've heard people say it, then therefore it's right. Some of the things that they say can be so embarrassing, can be very embarrassing. And they just go around telling people, saying it in front of people, and, whatever they say, it also affects, say, the family. It just might be you. Maybe the rest of them, they agree with it, they think the same way. But no, you don't, and it's embarrassing, or it's very controversial, or maybe they even just say things about you. Maybe things that from your childhood, something that you did that was embarrassing. So they want to embarrass you, so they do that. They go around saying things that are embarrassing. And some of that that of telling stuff that happened when you were a kid and it was embarrassing and all that. Some of it they do that so they can do what's called infantilize. It's infantilization. Treat you like a child. That gives them some kind of superiority over you. Or they might use something like that to do a little bit of a smear campaign to say that, and then maybe it was something you wish you hadn't done when you were a child, and you've changed since then. But then they use that to kind of start a smear campaign behind the scenes kind of thing. I mean, you're admitting to, yeah, I did that, but I've changed. But they're going to use that to smear you and say you're still doing it. Smear you behind your back and say you're still doing stuff like that. You never learned. You are that. Yeah, that happens. Some of the other stuff that they do is like they try to ruin relationships. They can do that. They can do things like steal from you. Yeah, steal money from you. And I'm not talking about people who are, children who are still living at home. I'm talking about adults. And they can find ways to take money from you, to get money from you. And that's another one, to get money from you. They do a sob story and they get the money from you and you never see it again. Once burned, twice shy on that, hopefully. But they do that. They can do that. I mean, these are some of the things that people go through, just some of them, when they have this kind of family. And so back to the start, when people start saying, well, all families are dysfunctional, they really don't get it. Or all those other things I mentioned, and then some. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. This place is really busy here. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. And if you want to subscribe to this channel and you haven't already, click the circle icon that pops up. If you want to watch another video on this channel, click on the rectangles that pop up. Like, subscribe, comment, and share on your own social media if you would. And I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.